Hi friends, Janine here. We have Tiger Talk Tuesday. Now we have had some phenomenal athletes come on talking about life after sports, or kind of life after sports as we know it. And we are on episode 22. Today we are going to be pulling in Ryan Straschnitzki. Now his story is very remarkable. As you know, these conversations are with athletes, whether they've chosen to retire or they've had an injury or some unforeseen circumstances that has transformed their life in some certain way. So just one second. I'm going to bring him on. Approve. And we're just the call. Super excited. Ryan! Yay!
Hey.
I think you're like the best Facebook Live person that I've ever brought on that got on like that.
There we go.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I started this series in May. For those of you that know, we had some friends that actually passed away who did not transition very well to life after sports. They got caught up in other things, and it just started this conversation, and all these athletes have been coming forward wanting to share their experience. Yours is phenomenal. So before I ask you some questions, just going to give the viewers a little bit of background. Ryan is a former Humboldt Bronco. He's a current Team Alberta para ice hockey member and a hopeful for the 2026 Team Canada para ice hockey team. So after the horrible bus crash in April 6th of 2018, Ryan was paralyzed from the chest down. Now, he lost many of his teammates and staff members that tragic day. He was not able to play the game he loved in the way he always played it. He attends physiotherapy regularly to achieve his dream of walking again someday. And through his commitment and determination, he's making progress at each and every session. His journey has not been an easy one. He understands that each and every day will be a battle, not just physically, but mentally as well. He enjoys public speaking, where he spreads messages of positivity and motivation to those looking for ways to adapt and change their lives for the better. Ryan has received incredible support from around the world and recently started the Strong Foundation. Or am I saying it right? Straschnitzki? Yeah. Okay, you've got an amazing last name.
Yeah.
Through his foundation, Ryan hopes to give back to the disabled community. His dream is to one day live in a world where people with both mental and physical disabilities can have a better quality of life through adaptive sports, gain access to inexpensive rehabilitation, and increase social awareness for those who have limited understanding and how life is for someone with a disability. So it's so awesome to have you here. Let's just jump right to it. Let's go back to life before the bus crash.
Mm-hmm.
Who were you as an athlete? When you had thought about your vision for yourself, and where was your mindset before that? Where did you think your life was going at that time?
Yeah, so I started playing hockey at 4, and truthfully, I didn't like it at the start, but I kept going, and the higher levels I got, the more I enjoyed it, and started making new friendships and going on all these tournaments and just enjoying the game and falling in love with it. And at some point I was like, okay, well, how far can I take this? Can I, potentially go play pro hockey or something like that? So I would continually work for that, but along the journey, I kept getting cut from hockey teams, right?
Okay.
So I was like, I would question my abilities every once in a while, and that only fueled me to work harder. So that got me into the gym. That got me actually working on stuff that got me like doing the little things that nobody else was willing to do, so that I could, work my way up the ladder.
Yeah.
I couldn't rely on just talent alone. So you had to work my butt off to get where I was. And I guess that led me to my junior A career in Humboldt.
And when you're playing, so you started, what's really sticks out to me is the fact that you didn't want to play hockey. Were you doing some other sport before that?
No, I was just playing all these different sports, but my dad is such a huge hockey fan that, he would get me out for those 6 a.m. practices, like 30 minutes away. And, I didn't like that, but, once I was on the ice having fun, it didn't really matter.
No, for sure. Okay. And then majority of the world has heard about what happened in 2018 and the bus crash. Do you remember any of it? Like, I know some people that have gone through injury or some of these instances, they kind of go black for like 3 weeks. I had a gentleman that I interviewed who now he lost his legs and an arm completely. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was just like any other game day. You get up early, do your whole routine. Then later, when you're about to head off to the opposing team city, you pack your bag, load the bus, and you're off. So that's what I remember. I remember the initial collision. Then I remember waking up in the hospital and just having a nurse standing over me. So, sort of kind of a black situation where I didn't really remember much.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds like you really worked on your mindset even before the crash, which is something that I'm very passionate about because we see things. I mean, adversity is going to happen to all of us, and I'm sorry that you even had to experience that. But what's really inspiring about your story is how instead of letting that define you and kind of throwing in the towel, tell us where you've taken your life to date because it's quite inspiring where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, even before the accident, I always learned that life keeps moving forward, and you can handle it one of two ways. So after the accident, I was in the hospital bed, and I thought, well, how am I going to get out of this? Like, what's next for me? This is like essentially a restart button. So for me, lying in that hospital bed, I was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to get back in a sport. That's definitely an option. Let's see what sports I can play and how far I can take that, and get into rehab, and just essentially just not let this accident dictate where my life was going, and try to take control again.
And that's amazing. There must have been some dark days for you.
Totally. I mean, you obviously reflect on what happened, and the injuries that I sustained, and you obviously, wish that it wasn't part of it, but you got to learn to accept it in some capacity, and realize that, there's not much you can do about it, but
Yeah.
just kind of do with what you got, right? And continue moving forward.
And so I'm just thinking about a young athlete who might be ever watching when they see this video and they've gone through some similar experience and this is their new reality. What got you to the place of, I'm not going to let this define me? Are you someone who reflects? Is it, strength of parents? Is it religion? Is it meditation? Were you writing? Was there something that you did that helped you get to that headspace? Or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little stubborn. I've always been a little bit stubborn. So when someone tells me I can't do something, I'm going to be like, you know what, I'll show you. So
That's me.
a lot of stubbornness, but also just motivation, just finding any motivating factor, whether that's to better yourself, whether it's to make your parents proud, whatever it is, there's got to be a motivating factor because, there's days when sometimes you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm going to lay in bed for an extra hour or two, right? And, you kind of waste away, right? So it's that motivating factor that's going to get you out of bed, that's going to give you that extra rep, that's going to make you actually drive to and strive to be better. So any sort of internal motivating factor will do the trick.
Yeah, for sure. And what was that experience like the first time you had to work in a chair? Now, it says in your bio that you're hoping to walk again someday. Is that a reality for you? Is that possible if you just keep going on?
Definitely. I mean, right now I'm obviously getting used to the wheelchair was tough. I couldn't actually go in a straight line for the longest time, but eventually got pretty proficient at it. And through physiotherapy, just trying to keep the legs healthy, and thanks to technology, I've been able to do some incredible things. So, I'm staying hopeful with technology and hoping for the best.
Yeah. Well, I saw the reason I even came on to you is because I saw your post with Lisa and like the golf chair. That's remarkable that you can stand up and you can still play golf. So it's amazing. What would you say to able-bodied people that are kind of around you? And I don't feel that people are intentional, maybe, of not understanding. They just never. I truly give people the benefit of the doubt. They just never experienced something, right? So they really can't relate. When you are around able-bodied people, if you could just give them a message, what would it be? Is it be more compassionate, try to be more understanding? Is it like, you have no idea how lucky you are, you get to run?
No.
What comes up for you?
I mean, at the end of the day, we're people too. We don't need to be treated any differently. Ask if we need help, maybe. I don't know. I mean, in my experience, just we're all people. Just treat us normally, and if you think that we need help, just ask. That's about it. There's not too much to it. It's pretty simple. There's no having to cater to different people. It's just, at the end of the day, just treat us like you would anyone else.
Yeah, I remember a gentleman, I interviewed a basketball player, and he got in a car accident, and it was a huge change. They had to move houses. They had to reconfigure the house. So did you have to go through all those changes with your family so that you can or have you been okay to navigate?
Yeah. So for this house right here, we actually had to wait 9 months for it to be renovated. So we were in a hotel for 9 months, and that was a lot. But actually, I just got a house in Calgary here, so I got to go through that whole renovation process again. But I'm lucky enough to be here at my parents' house for now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what have you learned about yourself along the journey? Like, again, to me, what really stands out to me is your amazing mindset and your resiliency as a human being, and that's really that is what it is, to go through those type of experiences. But what have you learned about yourself that you really love, that you're like, Ryan, I really got this?
That's a tough one. I've learned a lot about myself, obviously, and I could give you all the cliches, but I think growth happens in the hardest times. And that's what I've learned. I mean, even after the accident, dealing with stuff day to day, I've realized that I might have considered this a failure in the past, but now I can look at it like a learning lesson and move forward, right? And sort of share that knowledge so that if somebody is in a similar situation, they don't have to go through what I went through.
Yeah, for sure. And what's that been like for your family, for your parents?
I, I obviously can't speak for them, and they've been there the whole time. They've supported me the whole time. We've always worked through this together, and they just, treat me like their kid. 24 years now, so nothing's changed. I'm still the same kid.
I love it. Well, I'm sure they've got an amazing set of parents to have such a strong mindset and to be as positive as you are. So, talk to us about what you're doing now with the para ice hockey and your goals with Team Canada.
Yeah, so I play a whole swack of adaptive sports right now, and yeah, sled hockey is obviously number one. It's taken up my whole life, and have dreams to play in the Paralympics at some point. And I actually recently just started taking up wheelchair sports and rowing and just all these different sports that I want to try and see how far I can go with it. So
yeah, so what are you, so for someone who's just getting into this and they don't know what's possible for them, like what sports are you doing? Just so they can see like this is possible for me. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. So sled hockey, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair rugby. I want to play wheelchair tennis, rowing, adaptive mountain biking. Like there's so many sports out there, and I had no idea. But now that I've again sort of hit that reset button, I can actually dive into these sports and learn a lot and try and grow them in some capacity. And I guess the biggest one I missed out was golf. I just recently got into golf as well, and hoping to see how far I can take that.
Yeah, well, I'm actually was talking to one of the guys who does play wheelchair tennis. He's at Wimbledon, so I can connect you to.
That'd be
No
awesome.
problem. His name's
Yeah,
Robert
I love
Shaw.
that.
Yeah, he's amazing, and I got him on with another athlete. But okay, so what would be, if you had any last words of encouragement for athletes? I mean, the whole point of this series is called Transitioning to Life After Sports, and it's either due to injury, unforeseen circumstances, or you're retiring. For your younger self, what piece of advice would you give to someone who's gone through some experience like as you have, that's really just trying to navigate? What would be your top three pieces of advice for them? And they're not mentally in the space that you are. They're struggling with seeing what's possible. What would you say to them?
Top three, I guess number one would be, life is going to throw curveballs your way regardless of who you are. It's always going to happen. I guess number two would be to like take a breath, just take a deep breath every once in a while, just relax and sort of assess what's going on. And number three, just know that whatever happens, it's going to be okay. It's sort of a hidden faith theory where if you're doing the right things and you're being a good person, the right things will happen, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like that. So just repeat that to yourself, that no matter what, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, keep showing up, right?
Yeah.
I love that. Well, it's been a pleasure having you, and I'll definitely reach out and connect you with that wheelchair tennis player. He's competing right now. But for anyone watching, know that there is a community out here that supports you. There's a number of athletes. This is already episode 22, and we still have a list of athletes coming down the pipeline. And Ryan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you as part of this series. I think it's a very important message, and there are a lot of people struggling in silence that are able to voice their story and opinion. So I'm really grateful for your time today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, we're getting off, but any last words of wisdom that you feel you need to dispense to all the athletes watching?
Just enjoy the process. It doesn't last forever. Just have fun no matter what happens, the good, bad, and ugly. Just you're going to look back on it one day and laugh about it. So just enjoy the whole process.
I love it. I love it. Well, good luck to your goals with Team Canada, with your public speaking. I look forward to seeing where your journey takes you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
Bye.